Greetings, Great Awakening. Not sure who's here for the first time or who's here from the short that we just uploaded. But yes, we are coming as we are. We just did a quick sound check. And in that short, you could actually hear the heater turn off exactly where I begin to speak. So there is a difference or not enough to make such a difference because you could still hear me, but I was glad I did that sound check at that time because I could hear how much it did or did not affect the sound or any technical interferences that it may not cause. Nonetheless, we are here. And it's windy outside today, but it's a good day. Good day. Nice sunny day in Georgia today. A beautiful day, actually. Skies are clear. Strong gust of wind has already swept through this morning and cleared some leaves. You could actually hear it. So this is the best time to do this. Giving sunlight, giving all the haves and have-nots. But yes, using what we have, a phone holster that I got at a career fair earlier this year, and coming as we are on this Good Moo Moo Monday. I don't know if that'll be a thing. Moo Moo Monday, because then I'll have to invest in all kinds of moo moos and the leisure, the leisure aesthetic, but it does go along with what we are doing here. Creating a homey vibe, you know. And so that might be a thing on Mondays instead of starting the week with the typical age-old hustle and bustle at the start of the week. In some religions, cultures, Monday is actually their day off. In some African religions, cultures, and practices, they take Monday off. Like an Ethiopian restaurant, you'll probably see them closed on a Monday, you know. So, yeah. I wanted to come and go ahead and just start. Just start. I've gotten all the signs to start. And if you look at any of my previous content, it's up to 2 years old. And I thought, you know, should I delete that and start fresh? But no, I need you all to see that I've been progressing towards this start, this new beginning for a while, you know. So, and I've had former starts and stops and pauses, you know. But I've gotten all the signs. All the signs, symbols, and synchronicities to go ahead and start. And typically I'm very private, very much in and out of hermit mode, and very keeping my experiences, my sentimental experiences close to my chest, and not wanting to share, and hoarding, or what seemed like hoarding up until this time. So I'm I'm enthused to share with you all the gems, all the pearls of wisdom, all the nuggets that I found, discovered, rediscovered along my journey, hoping that it helps guide you along your journey. But we are starting with a blank canvas, hence the white in the background. You're going to see my setting change because just as a mystic, a messenger, a magician, I want to show you all not only that I've gone through my sense of soul searching, but my sense of awakening and my sense of arrival, and that was a 15-year journey that I just wrapped up this year. It's the 28th, I believe. So a couple more days until the Western American New Year. But if you're more familiar with actual up-to-date, untouched, ancient calendars, you know that the new year technically really isn't until spring, until March. Nonetheless, this is still the fourth quarter. If you do abide by a more ancient, accurate calendar, January or December, January is still fourth quarter. So my new year, I don't celebrate my new year until March, but I still got the go ahead to start and begin. So hopefully you'll come along, because I did this, Most High did this for me. Thought enough of me, and I thought enough of myself to accept the calling, my mission, to remember my purpose for coming here to earth, manifesting and becoming and having finally arrived. I know a lot of people never arrive. So whatever I can do, as I said, as a mystic, as a messenger, I'm a Gemini, so they consider us the messengers of the gods. So as a magician, I want to share the various transformations and evolutions and changes in my environment, and start with this blank slate, as you see behind me. And take you along for the ride to show you that you can do the same. You can manifest your very reality. You create your own world. So, some preparation. I'm coming to you with as much preparation as I do and do not have, okay? But this is also, and moreover, this message is dedicated to archiving. We are using YouTube, this YouTube channel, as archival record. Okay, so from day to day, I'll do my best to upload every day. Cannot make any promises, because I said that in some of my videos 1 and 2 years ago, and there was whole year gaps, months, But now is the time, as we transition from the year of the snake into the year of the horse. Hopefully you all have shed anything that's old, unnecessary, unfulfilling. Because the year of the horse is about getting up and going. Run. But some of you, if you have not, maybe you need to hold your horses. Others prepare for takeoff. But this is archival record. Record keeping. That is very important. Very, very important. And I have some notes here, so you may see me refer to notes almost all the time. Almost all the time. Just in receiving downloads and channeling, sometimes it's a word from on high. And I have to channel or put pencil to paper for certain messages. So that's a part of being a messenger. Message retrieval from source. From source. So, getting started. With messages and transmitting messages. And we're going to delve in and out of the rabbit hole. I know how to deep dive. I know how to swim down and come back up. And I can teach you to do the same. But for now, I'll take the reins and remind you that record keeping, archival record, is essential. Not just for the messenger, not just for the mystic, not just for the griot, the storyteller. But that's a custom, a value, our cultural narrative. Is heavily reliant on messages. Accurate messages. And we have to set the record straight, because the forefathers of the West have been hell-bent on diluting and distorting the narrative and messages. Hell-bent, hell-bent, hell-bent. And messaging and communication is it's a heavenly, it can be, it was intended to be. Like music, a heavenly virtue, something we do to transcend the human condition and transcend and ascend our mind, our knowing. Something used for the greater good, but instead it's been used like music to the detriment, to the confusion, to the calamity of the world and our people. I want you to consider that angels and stories and tales of old were sent to you to relay a message. In the event that we are too earthbound and cannot hear, cannot see, cannot retrieve a word from on high, a word from on high. In the event we do not have a direct connection to source. So record keeping, archival record, is something that our people, our species, have been very intentional and very mindful and very intuitive about since the beginning of time. Whether it be symbols like hieroglyphics, whether it be pictures drawn or carved, to the very language or languages that we now speak. But especially me, or fellow mystics, fellow messengers, fellow magicians. Communication is everything. Accurate transmission of messages is everything. Because we as retrievers are responsible as a messenger in this day and age. You have to filter the information. Technically, there's so much misinformation, miseducation, in our environment that we have to filter. We have to research. As a former minister of information, and I only say former because we are now in the Aquarian age, which is the age of knowing. Previously, during the Piscean age, that was the age of information. And it was the digital age as well. So there was a spike in information and the access to information. So my duty at that time was to be a minister of information. If I had an Instagram, there weren't any pictures of me. It was about it was about the information that I was unveiling, uncovering, exploring, and discovering. And what can I do to set the record straight? Amidst the miseducation and the misinformation of our time. So why is archival record important? It lets us know that there's life. Other life forms exist or have existed. Imagine if you were to stumble across or discover, as we have in this day and age. Imagine stumbling across or discovering a cell phone. Because that's what's going to happen once we're long gone. Someone's going to discover a cell phone and realize, they're going to discover a Nokia phone and realize, wait a minute, someone was here. So it lets us know, as far as the past, they were very forward thinking, although it was the past. And when I say they, I'm more so referring to entities and enigmas like Thoth or Thought or Tahuti or Jehuti. So it depends on what you know, who you know, and how you came to know information. If you really know information at its source, stay with me. Stay with me, because for a subject like this, when we consider communication, information, and messaging, that's a time travel concept. That's not something we can discuss it now, but we're discussing all of time. Communication, messaging, information, that's what connects the past, present, and the future. That's how we know there was a past, present, or future. The future is always being written. So we have past archival record, things written in stone, things you cannot erase, because our ancestors knew that they would attempt to erase the narrative, the story of old. Imagine our ancestors being so intuitive, so intellectual, so into the future, to know that enemy forces, pardon me, I'm fasting, so my stomach wants to overtalk me. But imagine our ancestors being so mindful to know that enemy forces, opposing forces, would attempt to destroy all evidence, all the scrolls, all the information, messages, symbols that our ancestors left for us. So much so that they wrote it, scribed it, engraved it into indestructible material. They still don't know, or maybe cannot accept, that our ancestors built the pyramids. Not theirs, ours. Ours. It's about remembering, not regurgitation. That's what That's the difference between the West and the rest of the world. Honestly. The West wants to write its own history. Want you to forget. In the West, it's about regurgitation. That's what defines smarts, wits, intelligence. But we know that it's about remembering. Maybe our ancestors knew that we would be dismembered, we would be displaced. Dismembered so much so that it would require remembrance. It's in the wording. When you study etymology, you realize it's in the wording. If you're ever lost out here in the West, or if you ask yourself the same question that I asked myself, how did we get here? Etymology, doing your research and doing etymology will show you exactly what happened, because it's in the wording. It's in the colonial language that they created. The English language is just a mashup of all the countries and cultures that the pagans, Europeans, the British have invaded. So it's a mashup of Frisian, Dutch, African, and all of it's filed into or classified as the Germanic branch. Germanic branch. Do your research. Don't just take my word for it. The Germanic branch of the English language. And of course, Greek is going to have Greek because Europeans are descendants of the Greeks, of the Vikings. It's a Viking language. I had to go back and read a dictionary, thumb through a dictionary, an old one, to find that out. So there's a reason. There's a reason for the banning of books. There was a reason for phasing out not just records, but vinyl records. That was used as a healing mechanism for people of color. I remember doing my research and coming across that information that the US government had done away with vinyl records. The original recorder with the diamond chip. Because diamond, for all the science, for all the science nerds, for all the science enthusiasts out there, if you know diamond is a form of What chemical compound? Carbon. And vinyl is what? Placing a diamond chip onto a vinyl is carbon on carbon. And we are carbon copies. So playing your favorite vinyl records, music in itself is already healing. So placing a diamond carbon chip onto a vinyl carbon record creates up to 300% of carbon filament, carbon production in the environment. Carbon on carbon on carbon. That's why activated charcoal, which is carbon, is so beneficial for us. We're eating more of ourselves. So when we say melanin, the actual chemical compound that we are referencing is carbon. We are carbon copies. Just a quick deep dive down the rabbit hole, but come back. I want you to be mindful of the etymology and the diction. Diction just means word use. If you are unfamiliar with etymology, etymology is simply breaking words down into their root and stem phrases, breaking them apart. That's what I had to do to discover what, who, why. Where am I? What am I dealing with when we consider the Wild Wild West? And once you break down all these different words, these English, Britain, British words, you realize, okay, this part comes from France, this part comes from Africa. Eureka. Eureka was one of the first words that I looked up delving into etymology. And I realized that it was the stumbling upon of gold. That was one of the earlier downloads that I received of words to define, not just define, but define, dissect, and decode. If you've ever seen the Da Vinci Code, you have to do that when you're dealing with English, European, Greek, Greco-Roman, Viking, rule and domination and influence. That's another session for another time as far as Greco-Roman imperialism and influence and impact, and whose reality are you living. But for now, record keeping. And all of this comes full circle. And I'm going to ensure that everything that I speak to, speak from, and speak about comes full circle, because I need the light bulb to go out, to go off in case it's out. I need it to click. I need you to remember. Because the agenda of this world is to keep you distracted, distraught, and dismembered. the least you can do is try to remember. And I'm going to do everything in my power to refresh your memory, to remind you, to help you recognize recognition and rewire your brain to operate the original computer, the original brain computer, how to debug, how to rid yourself of parasites, viruses, so that you are thinking correctly. That way, if someone asks you, what were you thinking? You can go through a sequence of functions and let them know exactly where they had you fucked up at. Or they can tell you where your thinking or lack thereof failed you. If someone truly cares about you in this day and age, they will correct your thinking. And if you love yourself enough, you'll course correct. So this is about setting the record straight. Your own personal archival record. This is me simply sharing my life, my life's work with you all. But my life is inside of another life. I want you to realize that our lives are inside of another life. That's inside of another life. That's inside of another life. I want to help you identify the layers and the boundaries put on to you and how to become self-aware, but also aware of your surroundings and what's actually happening, or what agendas are actually at play. So to name, I want you to be mindful of the actual historical sites and references to archival records. So here I have written down emerald tablets, Georgia Guidestones, Vatican archives, Akashic records, the great book of all life, but even in the physical sense, the wordplay, tells you exactly what's going on or what's happened and how we got here. That's case in point as to how I have arrived. Because before I was a guide, I was a seeker. I had questions that I needed answers to, and thusly I was sent on a quest to answer those questions. You see how it's the wording is in the wording is in the wording. Word. But we must stay focused. We must stay focused. Whenever I was or considered myself a self-proclaimed minister of information, I had to take bits of information from different books and I had to put them together, referencing again the Da Vinci Code or the sequel to the Da Vinci Code, Angels and Demons. It's a scavenger hunt. You have to have the curiosity and the passion and the wits and bits of information. I think it was Ram Dass that mentioned that we have bits of information. Knowledge is just bits of information. Wisdom is putting those bits of information together. To transcend the message or to transcend knowledge into wisdom. Putting two and two together. 22. Oh, you thought the answer was 4? Don't let it go over your head. Don't fall for the goop in this day and age. This day and age, what a time to be alive, because we are at the height of living. Between technology, between information, we're overwhelmed with both information and misinformation. So you have to filter through that. You have to filter through that stuff. You have to weed through and find the gems, the nuggets, the pearls. Okay? And I'll do everything in my power to guide you on how to do. How to transcend the human condition. And transcend knowledge into wisdom. But yes, whenever I was a former minister of information, it was hard work. It was very tedious because I would have to come across this information. I would have to analyze the information for what it is. Filter out any excess, any fluff. I would have to assemble the information in a way, disseminate it in a way for optimal integration. So information for me, before I posted it or before I transmitted a message, I had to assimilate, disseminate, and then integrate for myself. But for others, so that they could get it almost instantly, or for the sake of information being instantly gratifying, I would have to formulate my words, not be too verbose, not be too wordy, and deliver a message so that someone could instantly come into knowledge, intelligence, and wisdom. So yes, I am a soothsayer. I am a speaker, a writer. I do possess the gift of gab. Most Geminis, all Geminis have the capacity to, but that's my niche. That's my art. That's my purpose. And thusly, here I am sharing it with you. And it's a pleasure to have made it home, to have arrived. Because that 15, 16 years between my initial awakening and coming into my gifts up until that point of arrival, just a month or so ago, was a long stretch. The rabbit hole gets deep. The rabbit hole gets deep, and some people never make it out, but this is me offering a hand, an olive branch, an extension of myself to you to ensure that you make it home too. So I need you to have faith for the things that you cannot see. I usually have a virtue. I usually have a virtue and a spirit animal that I'm working on or that's working on me. And the faith, those virtues, that's something that you have to, the Most High has to teach you those things. And if you don't retreat to silence, stillness, solitude for the Most High to bestow the virtue upon you, because it's heavy. It's heavy until it's light. These are not man-made concepts. These are heavenly virtues. If you don't adhere to silence, stillness, solitude for it to be bestowed upon you, you will learn the earthly way through experience. And I am imagining something being placed upon you or it befalling you and you're moving and you're not sitting still. It's going to hurt. You're going to crash into it or it's going to crash into you. But faith is something that's working on me right now. Spirit animals, the year of the horse is definitely making itself known. Definitely making itself known. Since I've been in Georgia, hummingbirds, a plethora of spirit animals, totems, spirit guides. But that's it for now. I'm taking you all along with me. And keeping archival record of my coming and going. sharing myself, my experiences with you, with hopes that you can learn vicariously through my journey. Hoping that it incites and influences and impacts yours for the greater good. So we're starting with a blank slate. Okay? Blank canvas. And we'll paint and we'll fill in the blanks and add some color to your life. Won't you come along?